Pat, that Halloween movie collector, and welcome to episode 1 of Kiss My Past. Now, I was trying to think of something cool to do with Kiss. This is not just rankings and whatnot, so I thought, you know what? I'm ultra nostalgic, as you can see from this channel, just from the name alone. And I'm a big horror fan, basically classic horror fan, so I'm like, you know what? Let's do Kiss My Past, where I talk about certain things in my past I love about Kiss, or maybe a first time I saw Kiss, or just anything in general about Kiss. And anybody's got any ideas, by all means, throw them in the comments. But I thought, you know, this is a little late because with the H45 convention I just went to and the Halloween season with all the horror content that was on this channel, I kind of wanted to do this before Halloween or release this on Halloween. I just didn't have the chance. So I know it's a little late, but this was the first time I got to see Kiss on television in 1976 for the Paul Lynde Halloween Special. Any diehard Kiss fan, I'm sure you've seen this, or at least seen the clips of Kiss playing. They played 3 songs, and they talked a little bit, albeit just Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley in character with Paul Lynde.
And your makeup is something else. How long does it take you to put it on?
We don't wear makeup.
Why don't you push the down button on your elevator shoes?
But this was just amazing because we were fans from 75, my brother and I. So when we heard about this, we couldn't wait to see this. So the Paul Lynde Halloween Special starred the who's who of famous people at the time, including Tim Conway, Roz Pinky Tuscadero Kelly, Margaret Hamilton, the original Wicked Witch of the West from The Wizard of Oz, Billy Hayes, Witchy Pooh from H.R. Pufnstuf, Billy Barty as Gallows, who was their butler, and Billy Barty's been in everything. Florence Henderson, the late great Florence Henderson, Mrs. Brady. An appearance by Betty White as an angel, actually more so as she makes an appearance as the Good Witch, where she wins a contest for a date with Paul Newman, and when she comes there to claim her prize, she finds out it's Paul Lynde. She's like, "Why Paul Lynde? Any Paul? I would have took any Paul. Why Paul Lynde?" And they say, "Well, he was available." And a quick appearance by Donnie and Marie, who were 76. The Donnie Marie Show. They were big, real big. Originally broadcast on October 29th in 1976 on Channel 7. Channel 7 here, in the New York metropolitan area where I'm from, on ABC. And it was the who's who's of people that were in famous shows at the time. And you got to remember, this is a variety show. So those of my age group or even older, the 60s, and I remember more predominantly in the 70s, tons of variety shows. Basically where you had somebody was hosting a variety show and they brought different guest stars on and they did little skits. It was the age of variety shows, from Donnie and Marie, who make an appearance in this, to the Carol Burnett Show, the Benny Hill Show, which was fantastic if you like, girls with large assets. You had Laugh-In earlier, end of the 60s, early 70s. You had Sonny and Cher's television show. There was so many variety shows. It was the age of variety shows. And they would always have holiday-themed ones with specific people. Now, Paul Lynde had one before this, and I don't remember what it was. It's like a year or two before that. He even mentions it on there. So I have to go back and look and see what the other one was. But this one, nostalgia, fun. So if you haven't seen it, we're just going to do a quick Cliff Notes version of it, because I've seen it 8 billion times. I watch it every October to get me in the mood. So for those that don't know, Paul Lynde he's been dead probably since the early 80s. He died very young. He was in a lot of 60s and 70s shows. He had his own show, the Paul Lynde Show. I think it only lasted like a season. It was actually pretty funny. I don't know why it didn't last that long. You can find it online. And he was always guest star. He guest starred a lot in Bewitched. He was I think he was the uncle. He was Samantha's uncle. He was in The Munsters. He was in The Addams Family. He was in so many different shows, and he was the original Center Square for the Hollywood Squares for years. And he had that off-brand humor. It was more of his demeanor that would make you laugh. he would always do like pretty cheesy jokes, but the way he delivered them, they were supposed to be cheesy, and you were supposed to get a laugh out of that cheesy joke, much like he does through this whole special. But that's pretty much the backstory on Paul Lynde. He died very young, unfortunately. I think he had a heart attack in his 50s. I think he was real young in the early 80s. I do remember when he died. So basically, it opens up to try to. It's with him trying to pretend to be like celebrating the holiday. So there is in a Santa suit, and who comes out but Margaret Hamilton. So if people don't know, Margaret Hamilton is the original Wicked Witch of the West from The Wizard of Oz. So she plays his housekeeper through this whole variety show. So she keeps coming out like he dresses in a Santa suit. She says it's not Christmas. He dresses like a bunny. She says it's not Easter. All different holidays until they finally get onto Halloween, and then boom, you have the big title card, the Paul Lynde Halloween Special. He does a little bit of a monologue with a bunch of cheesy jokes. He does a little song about kids, how the kids are those days. And at the very end of it, that's when you see the little Donnie Marie, where they put him in a trash can and they cover him up. So it's very cheesy nostalgia, but to me, it just makes me laugh, especially all the cheesy jokes he tells. And even in the song, some of the lyrics in the song, he's like with your sweat hogs and your funky fawns, because at the time, Welcome Back Kotter was big in '76. Happy Days was big with the fawns. And the one part of the song where he says there's too much Alice Cooper and not enough Alice Faye. Love that line.
There's too much Alice Cooper, not enough Alice Faye.
So it flashes to Paul Lynde's place. And he goes to take a trip with Margaret Hamilton to her sister's house. And they're driving. And of course, it's supposed to be almost like Transylvania. And you see this big Gothic mansion that looks like a castle, like a haunted castle. So they get there, and who answers the door? Now let's see how old you people are, if you remember this. But Witchy Poo. Witchy Poo from H.R. Pufnstuf, but played by the late great Billy Hayes. For those that don't know what H.R. Pufnstuf is, go back and watch it. That was a psychedelic whack. It was the world of Sid and Marty Krofft. If you children of the 70s remember Saturday Morning, world of Sid and Marty Krofft with all his stuff like the Bugaloos, Lidsville, the Banana Splits, all that crazy wacky stuff. And H.R. Pufnstuf was right there with it. Love that show. With I forget the boy's name. Jimmy, and he had the little magic talking flute that Witchy Poo was always trying to steal. But well, we're not going to do H.R. Pufnstuf. But that's Billy Hayes. So the two witches. So you have the Wicked Witch of the West, and you have Witchy Poo. They're sisters, and they tell Paul Lynde, "We're going to grant you 3 wishes this Halloween." So he says his first wish, he wants to be a trucker. Now remember, 1976, CB radios were big, trucking was big. It was right before Smokey and the Bandit, Convoy. If you guys remember the song Convoy, and then the movie Convoy, everything was like truckers and CB radios in the late 70s, mid to late 70s. I remember my dad had a CB radio in every car. My dad had a big ass one at the house he'd sit and talk to people on. That was social media, so to speak. Those were cell phones back in the day. So the whole skit plays out where he's driving along, and he's calling on the radio, and and who answers but Tim Conway. So Tim Conway's another trucker, and they're going back and forth on the radio, talking about how they're both getting married that night. They're all going to tie the knot. And then they find out it's the same girl. And when they go and rush to the diner that she works in, they find out who that one girl is. And now you Happy Days fans will remember who she is. It's Pinky Tuscadero, right? The Fonz's girlfriend, Leather Tuscadero's sister, who was Leather Tuscadero, but Susie Quattro. So it's Roz Pinky Tuscadero Kelly. Roz Kelly's her name. Whole scene plays out where now it's like a battle of wits and strength over who's going to get her. And they, of course, there's a song and dance at the end. And then we flash back, and he's back at the castle. And there you have Margaret Hamilton and Billy Hayes again. And they sit there and say they want to hear some want to hear some music. They say want to hear some soothing chamber music. Now, of course, this is the first time we get to see Kiss. And you see them come down the elevator, and they come out bombastically, and they play, well, they lip sync, it's obviously not live, to a shortened version of Detroit Rock City. But this was the first time I got to see Kiss on television, so it blew my mind. Actually makes you a little dizzy if you watch it, because the scenes where the scene spinning around, you see the Kiss logo and it just starts spinning around, makes you a little dizzy. Paul Lynde's granted his second wish. His second wish, he wants to be a sheik, like a wealthy sheik in the desert. So they flash to him, and of course he's there with who is his love interest in this dream sequence. Well, this wish sequence, I should say. None other than Florence Henderson, Mrs. Carol Brady. So he's dressed like a sheik, and he's trying to woo her with all this money, whatever. And they go and kiss, and then who shows up from the Foreign Legion? Well, it's Tim Conway again. And he's there to take him away. And the whole scene plays out where they go back and forth, and he bribes him with a cockatoo. Just like he bribed Florence Henderson. I'll give you a cockatoo. And then she's like, sure, kiss me. I have no idea why. Maybe because Beretta was big at the time. So that's his other wish, to be a rich, wealthy sheik. Now, when he's back at the castle, he's got one wish of his three left. And what does he do? He says, what? I want to give my wish to you, to both Witchy Poo and the Wicked Witch. And he said, what do you, something you guys always wanted to do? And they said they always wanted to go to a Hollywood disco, because now 76 was probably around the height, not necessarily the height, because that was probably around 77, 78, 79. But disco was huge. Discotheques were big. Disco music was blowing up. So fast forward, now they're at a Hollywood disco. Well, it's basically just they're still in the castle, and there's a bunch of people in costume, and they're running around. And now now it's a Hollywood disco. And here's where we're introduced to Kiss again, where they say, this band is number one with a bullet, because at the time, 76, Beth was huge, sent them in the stratosphere, made them more popular than ever with Beth. So they come out, and there's Peter at a piano pretending to play the piano. I don't think he can play the piano. But obviously they're lip syncing again, and there's Peter at the piano, and he's singing along to Beth. And then just as he's done, you see the boys come over, and then of course Paul Lynde says, "Come on, Margaret, I always wanted to meet Kiss." And then of course he tells a couple of real lame Kiss jokes. I can tell how you boys got together. You had one fight, and then your mom told you guys to kiss and make up. Just some real cheesy Kiss jokes. And he asks your name, and of course Margaret says Peter, Gene, Ace, and Paul. And he goes, I love a religious group. Real deadpan, cheesy humor. But the way he delivers lines, Paul Lynde, that was his whole shtick back in the day. And he says, wow, this is amazing. He's like, how long does it take you your makeup is amazing. How long does it take to put on? And of course, Gene goes, we don't wear makeup. So, because he was trying to stay in character, because this is where the characters were starting to take off, because this was probably right around the time the first comic book came out, I guess. So, of course, they were starting to become those comic book characters. And that's how they were going to start acting all the time. And then, of course, Paul Lynde says, I would love for Kiss to play one more song. And then they come out and play probably my favorite song on Destroyer. They come out and play King of the Nighttime World, one of my favorite songs. At the very end, Gene breathes fire. Everybody celebrates. And then he gives his closing monologue where he thanks everybody for coming on, thanks Kiss. And they're sitting there, and you have Roz Peaky Tuscadero teaching Paul Lynde how to dance to Disco Lady. Now, if you remember the song Disco Lady, the one-hit wonder song from Johnny Taylor, once it's in your head, you'll never get it out. So I remember, because I used to have an AM radio back then, and then put on the top 40 radio stations, and it was weird. Back then, top 40 radio, you'd get, well, rarely did they ever play Kiss. You would get like a Led Zeppelin song, and then you get like Johnny Taylor. It was so mishmash. I love that, because it's like a giant shuffle back in the day. Nowadays, you listen to like the most of the rock stations or whatever. You know what you do? It's wash, rinse, repeat. You hear the same goddamn songs over and over again. There's no variety anymore. That's basically the Paul Lynde Halloween Special. If you haven't seen it and you're a Kiss fan, go back and watch it. Even just, not necessarily just because you can just go on YouTube and Google it, and then you can see the Kiss performances. But watch the whole special. I know it's on YouTube. I have it on DVD. Years ago, I got a DVD copy of one of the Kiss conventions. I don't think it was ever officially released. I'm sure there's like a bootleg release, or like I don't know if it was ever licensed, but I have a copy of it. And I know it's on YouTube. It's fun, pure nostalgia from the 70s. So there you have it. This is episode 1, where I look back on the first time I got to see Kiss on television, the Paul Lynde Halloween Special, October 29th in 1976. My brother and I got to sit there and watch it. And of course, you got to remember back then, they didn't repeat shit. So we watched it and that was it. Didn't see this again until probably the late 90s, probably the mid to late 90s. Yeah, I got when I used to go to the Kiss conventions, you just have the guys with the VHS tapes of the bootleg concerts and the commercials and what do they call those things they used to sell? The VHS compilations. There was a Visual Evolution, and then there was the TV collection, and they have TV collections from different years. I still have them. I think on VH. I don't even know if I have them on VHS. I'm sure I've transposed them. But all you hardcore Kiss fans that used to go to all the Kiss expos, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. So I hope you like this trip down my Kisstory lane, Kisstory memory lane, and come up with some more stuff from my past. Or if you guys have any ideas, like I said, throw them in the comments. Do me a favor. Hit that like button. Helps people find this channel. Get some more Kiss fans to come and hang out and chat with me. Halloween fans, horror fans, comedy fans, music fans, any kind of fans. Just run around on this channel. There's a lot of shit. You'll step in a lot of shit. Because, let's face it, Kiss and horror always go hand in hand. Just look at Gene Simmons. I was always a big horror fan. So, make sure you subscribe to the channel. For those collectors out there, make sure you do subscribe and let me know. Follow the link below for the 1031 giveaway, where I'm giving away an exclusive Tom Atkins, Dr. Chalice figure from Halloween 3, from the Halloween 45 Years of Terror convention. There's the sticker. It's right over there. And as of this recording, I'm going to the Monster Mania convention in New Jersey, and I'm going to have it signed. Oh, actually, it's in Pennsylvania, Oaks, PA. I'm going to have it signed by Tom Atkins himself. So make sure you go below and subscribe, do everything you need to do, and you can win that, and it can be free. So there you have it. Don't know how often I'm going to throw out a Kiss My Past episode. It all depends on time, because it takes time to record. It takes time to edit. So we'll see you on the next Kiss My Past, and I'll talk to you soon.